Hey people, Infantry here, 3v3 Faction War. This is Katrin Purification Plant and Chaos Space Marines versus Tyranids. For the blue Chaos Space Marine team, we have two Plague Champions. First up here is Katla. This is the Death Guard Elite Scheme recolored. And we've got the Tenso. These guys fight in ranged combat by default with a damage over time bolt gun. Can get melee weapons with some strong utility and support. Alongside, Uncle Rostam is a Chaos Lord. Durable and destructive hero, walks through objects and cannot be suppressed with powerful offense and disruption. Looks like the Iron Warriors Elite Scheme, yes it is. Red Tyranids, first up. Hiveminion, we've also got wenDi as two Hive Tyrants. Durable heroes that walk through objects and cannot be suppressed with powerful disruption and support to begin in melee combat with a basic synapse. I shall call them Enrico and Ramon. Rounding off the teams, Daddy Waroot is a Ravener Alpha, a tunneling hero with great mobility, powerful offense, and a bit of support. Begins with a ranged weapon. Just grab that Western contested VP there. Plague Champions up against them. Kicking off in the mid, maybe with a 2v2 fight, perhaps. Both the Hive Tyrants charging through the mid. Up against the other heavyweight there, the Chaos Lord. Heretics need to be very careful here. That's a good special on those Hormagaunts. They're very low now. Can they finish them? Not quite. Could not quite get them down. 8 hit points. And they get away. Only one model though. Should be able to deal with these Hormagaunts, I think. Heretics need to be careful though. Big knockdown on those CSM by the Hive Tyrant. This is Ramon. Hormagaunts dealt with. There's still one in play. Yeah, these guys decapping. 465 to 500 very early on. Termagants decapping there too. Huge pressure from the Tyranid through the mid. Where is the other Plague Champion? They're on the eastern side, actually bashing the Tyranid power there. Gets the Biospear up to do that too. VP was successfully decapped. CSM are getting quite low here, trying to get into melee with the Termagants. Chaos Lord is a chasing. Some Corn Worship there for the +2 speed. CSM do retreat off. An early combi flamer would have done a huge amount of work here. But they did not go for it. Chaos Lord's getting quite low. Doom Blast on those guys while the Hormagaunts bash power. I think the Plague Champion is going to completely bash and decap this side here. Yep, there's the decap. Nope. Repurchased before he decapped. Bunch of Bolter Fire on the west side. Double CSM for Katla into Noise Marines. Also Noise Marines for Rostam, though they went double Heretics instead. These guys with an aspiring champion. He's a Chaos Marine. You see him there, Bolt Pistol and Chainsword. Increases the health of the other Heretics. Almost went down. Warp Field up for the Hive Tyrant. Makes him even more annoying to deal with, especially early on when you're not pumping out that much damage. They're still on the power here. This is Ramon still. Enrico went back to base for Hiveminion. Any war gear for this Plague Champion? Nope. They do not want to get the VP though. We've got a Warrior Brood over here from Daddy Waroot. 352 to 500. Double cap now for the Tyranids. Ravener Brood for Hiveminion. Looks like they did drop one of their Termagants along the way. Bunch of dead ones over here. These CSM getting very low. Here come more CSM though to force some melee on those Termagants where they excel. Against those guys anyway. The Plague Champion did get a decap over there. Was then persuaded to leave by the Stompy Hive Tyrant. No war gear for Enrico. Another Ravener Brood for wenDi though, and for Daddy Waroot. Each player with a single Ravener Brood now. There's the Warp Field on the way for Hiveminion. They're both going to have it then. Did not know the power yet. Meanwhile, west side, still a bit of a standoff. Daddy Waroot got the Warrior Brood into the back lines, but they're very low here. Those CSMs should have gone into melee with those guys. Very lucky not to lose another model there, actually. Can they push against this? There's that Sonic Blaster from the Noise Marines shutting down the ranged weaponry and doing tons of damage to the Termagants. Down they go. Hormagaunts getting in, but taking so much damage as they do it. Heavy losses here for Daddy Waroot. Lots of XP and levels and stuff for Katla. Here come Hormagaunts from wenDi. Dealt with. Oh, big mass retreat there from Katla. That's a bit sloppy. Could have stayed in play there. The Ravener Brood jumping in. Or Burrow striking in, I guess. Uh-oh. Hiveminion's Hive Tyrant might go down here. Caught by Heretics on retreat. Crippling Poison might have saved him. More Heretics following too. We did get more Chaos Space Marines for the Tenso. And they both have Eternal War. Yes, they do. 20% more damage both melee and ranged combat. You can tell with those Chaos insignias around the weapons there that they have it. 268 to 500 on the VPs. Still haven't dropped one, the Tyranids. Lots of pressure. Kind of paid for it on the west side though. That was a heavy losses, but kind of got away with it with that mass retreat from Katla. Now fully healed up. You need to be quite aggressive here, I think. Which the Plague Champion isn't fantastic at doing. It's easy to be aggressive when you've got your Touch of Nurgle though, which they do have. But the Plague Champion is just so slow. It's hard to hit hard and fast. Warrior Brood. Almost dropping a model there. Yeah, if those CSM forced melee combat on those guys. Well, they did take 2 losses in the end. But if you see a melee squad getting low, just switch to that melee stance and CSM will help you pick off those models in retreat. Did wipe out those Raveners. Those were Daddy Waroots. And blue team are going to get the west side. We do have the Combi Flamer up for Uncle Rostam. Gonna bash this tunnel for some red and XP. And go after the power. Noise Marines are here from Uncle Rostam. And they'll make short work of it. Very short work of it. Meanwhile, Chaos Space Marines lost their natural VP, but they are retaking it. Got Havocs casually bashing a node. Brooder Nest going up from Hiveminion. There's the warp field. Bilious Discharge used to frustrate the Hive Tyrant there. CSM don't want to take unnecessary hits though, just pouring as much damage as they could on those Termagants. How did they do on the power bash? Looks like they got 1 gen and the node. And they're still in play here. Can the Chaos Lord? No, can't get a kill a week, doesn't have the energy for it. They are going to get away safely, I think. Chaos Lord can continue to mess with stuff here. Or not, taking a bunch of damage from the Raveners and the Ravener Alpha. Who's this down? It is Ramon. Thought about getting the revive there for a second. Just looked at him. Burrow Strike on the Havocs and then they tied him up. Bilious Discharge is frustrating the Hive Tyrant, but they are finding ways in here, Hiveminion, because of the Ravener Brood. Where are the Heretics of Tenso? Oh, they're in the mid. Got crippled and forced to retreat. Tyranid is retaking the west side. The swarm keeps on coming. Everyone goes tier 2. Looks like Katla the first player to get there. Doesn't have much in the way of resources though. Oh, they got Mark of Zinch going. Double Mark of Zinch. I think an early Blood Crusher would have been better. And it's a lot of anti-infantry damage, but you had quite a lot of it anyway. And they can still use a touch of no, but this is a good time for it. There it is. Boom. Global ability of the Plague Champion. Friendly unit will explode on death, doing big damage and knockback. Also healing the other models, can really win fights for you. It's quite expensive though these days at 175 red. Still going on. Here comes some more Heretics for some more Doom Blasts. Great synergy, of course, with Heretics because you can Doom Blast them on command. So you get a Doom Blast damage and a Touch of Nurgle damage and the heal and the knockback. Mark of Khorne, Chaos Space Marines for Uncle Rostam with those power melee chain axes. Plasma pistols. The Aspiring Champion also gets a handy Melter pistol. 198 to 464. One of those units that's good, but they're kind of underutilized or underrepresented in 3v3s just because it can be tougher to deliver melee squads safely. And when your other option is awesome Mark of Zinch CSM, they usually get a nod. But their foot speed is quite refreshing for Chaos armies, which are generally quite slow. I mean, Khorne Worship obviously helps with that. Up against the Warrior Brute here. Disruption kind of messed them up, but here comes a Doom Blast. Immolate from the Chaos Lord also has the Mantle of Hate. Level 4 now. They brute forced their way through against those Warriors. Almost took them out. Those Warriors have lost so many models here. 198 to 445. Ravenna Alpha, no war gear for this fellow. We do have a Tyrant Guard though for wenDi, and here comes another one. So this one maybe was from the Global Bar. 2,500 hit points of super heavy infantry armor, very tough. But you can counter them quite hard with plasma and melter weapons. Also, inferno damage weapons like these Marco Zinch bolters. What's going on east side? We've got some Nurgle worship. We have a Mark of Khorne Havoc squad with that awesome autocannon and a Blood Crusher from the Tenso. Crushing Claws, Hive Tyrant though from Hiveminion also has improved Synapse. Venom Brood do have the ranged Synapse. They can do some serious DPS to the Blood Crusher there, especially when it goes into melee with a Crushing Claw Hive Tyrant. Blood Crusher has got away, and that autocannon just shreds things. Doesn't seem like they can quite target the Hive Tyrant here. Blood Crusher's going after it. It's really risky. I guess they know that the Venom Brood's off the field. But here's the Tyrant Guard going after it from wenDi. Bunch of stuff in retreat path. Rippers will slow it down, charges through them. Oh my god, it's took a lot of damage there. There's a capillary tower. Helped them chase maybe, but they couldn't quite get it done. Bloodletters on the field for Uncle Rostam. These guys are power melee demons that can teleport after you. Have that little passive teleport you saw there too. And power melee, big damage type to use against a Tyrant Guard. Here is Bloodlust from Uncle Rostam too. Units do more damage as they get hits in. You get more of a bonus for melee attacks as you may expect. And down goes, no! The Tyrant Guard lives. Some friendly fire on those Bloodletters though from the Sonic Blaster. wenDi's on it. Lost the indicator for this Hive Tyrant, but doesn't have any other upgrades. Oh, the Tyrant Guard did go down in the end. I guess that last Blastmaster shot did it. We have double Mark of Zinch CSM also for the Tenso. Uncle Rostam now down to 3 units, and they're all kind of torn up. Chaos Lord himself is right here. Almost level 5. Killed a lot of little Tyranid fellas. Blood Crusher does have 90 odd DPS. Heavy melee, I think it's quite close in damage in DPS rather to the Tyrant Guard, and they both attack quite quickly, so their damage per hit is probably quite similar too. Blood Crusher, big difference though, the Blood Crusher doesn't have splash damage, whereas the Tyrant Guard does. West side. 198 to 359 on the VPs. Pressure from Katla. That was an Aura of Decay. Didn't knock down these guys. I think they were far enough away, but they ran into Marco Zinch CSM and didn't survive. Daddy Waroot has had a rough time over it. Oh, turn of formation. Forces a retreat. They might get the VP off this. I think they are. It's a pretty good one, actually. Almost took the Plague Champion out. Almost took those Nice Marines out. But I think most everything got away. There's a Noxious Cloud from the Tenso. Blood Crusher's done well. We have a Zone Throat for Hiveminion. wenDi and Daddy Waroot are both depleted here. Tyranids can recover quite well if you can get into tier 3 and start the monstrous creatures going. Level 3 Hive Tyrant here for Hiveminion. Takes down the Blood Crusher. Decent chunk of XP for that. And the Ravenna Brood alongside that Hive Tyrant chopping through the Havocs. They do get away though. Ripper Swarm being annoying in there. 193 to 348. Chaos Lord just hanging out. Should be capping or fighting or something. Where's the rest of the stuff? Oh, they're looking over here, I think. Got those Mark of Khorne CSM. They're level 3 now, up very close to 2,000 hit points. Spawn Mine is detonating on the Heretics. Bad news for those Heretics. I don't think they got another detonation off there. Ravenna Brood forced to retreat. Overextended a little bit. If they just waited a few more seconds for the Hive Tyrant to join the fight, soak up those early shots, tank the Mark of Khorne CSM a bit. Gormagaunt's getting wrecked, and wrecked they are. Daddy Waroot dropping another squad. Had a rough time over here, as I said. We do have a Chaos Dreadnought for Uncle Rostam, benefiting from that Corn Worship there. Meanwhile, east side, bashing a node of Venom Brood and a Zone Thrope and stuff. Tenso defending the power for now, happy to do that. Almost level 3 on his Plague Champion. And Chaos will retake the west side. They can also bash those Capillary Towers from the Tyranids formation to get some red and stuff. Down goes that Brood Nest. I think that was Hiveminion's Brood Nest, from the colour of it. Has the Bilious Discharge been used? Yep, slowing down that Hive Tyrant there. Ravener Brood getting in. Kind of surprised these guys don't have their melee upgrade actually. Up against double CSM, double Marco Zinc CSM like this. Gives them more health, more melee damage, and more speed, I think, isn't it? It's a really good upgrade. Can they take out the Havocs? Almost. Need to be very careful now. This Hive Tyrant. Enrico's going to go down, maybe. Can't charge out. Puts up the shield for a second. Taking a lot of damage as they run away. The Plague Champion did go down. Don't think he's going to get away, this guy. Down they go. Meanwhile, some chaos through the mid. Uncle Rostam just marched on through. Has the Blood Maul, Mantle of Hate, as we've seen, and Demonic Visage now. Looks like wenDi's Hive Tyrant is down too. They're both down. Carnifex on the field though for Daddy Waroot. Here it is. Gone for the Venom Cannon. Powerful anti-vehicle weapon. Taking chunks off that Dreadnought, as you can see. 153 to 310. It's being debuffed by the Rippers, which slows it down a bit. That is really far to push your Dreadnought up without a Sorcerer to warp it away. Bashing power on the east side. It's a big blob of Tyranids here though. Daddy Waroot quite rightly staying near his allies at this point. We do have a Corrosive Devourer. Awesome plasma weapon that can damage vehicles when you use the Corrosive Shots ability there. The Dreadnought on 37 hit points. Here we see a enhanced Muscle Coil melee Ravener Brood. Can they take the Dreadnought out? They can. Well done, fellas. Yeah, +1 speed, more health, and 33% more damage. It's a nice upgrade for those fellas. West side, power bashing from Katla. Gonna get it all down, I think. The Noise Marines are still around, but they have a Blast Master these days. Meanwhile, wenDi was menacingly chasing those Bloodletters and made them run off. Without a weapon upgrade, Bloodletters would have a decent fight against the Hive Tyrant, but that guy did have his shield up. Meanwhile, west side, a Imperial Abyss from one of the Plague Champions. I guess it was Katla. They didn't really hit much. It hit the Ravener Alpha a lot, but that is a strange time to use a nuke. Carnifex. For some reason that Bioplasma didn't seem to do much damage. I'm not sure what that was about. Typically they're quite painful. Needs to start moving away, I think, the Carnifex, because there is... Oh, it's a Mark of Noble tank, which aren't great anti-vehicle tanks, but they can still do some work for you. Lots of health and stuff. Health regen, touch of Noble Heretics, and the Blast Master, and the Carnifex is gonna fall. That was a pretty crazy place to put it, to be honest. Daddy Waroot down to just a Ravener Brood. The Tyranids are reeling here. They started so well, with lots of great pressure through the mid. They've just been, not focusing on unit preservation, let's say, especially Daddy Waroot. They've had a really rough time. Down to, in fact, no units now. They're going to concede here. They have a VP lead, but I'm not sure how they're going to get the west side back, as well as maintain the mid. We do have a Neurothrope from Hiveminion. Great for dealing with clumps of infantry, especially heavy and super heavy infantry. Surprised we didn't see the Paroxysm right there, actually. Maybe it's been used already. Carnifex hits the field for wenDi. Neurothrope on the way for Daddy Waroot. Level 3 Hive Tyrant does get away. I think there's another Brood Nest from Hiveminion. Oh, the Tenso with a Imperial Abyss nuke. Actually destroyed a lot of friendly units though. Lots of Heretics died there. A couple of Bloodletters, I think. Now CSM are being pulled in, and there's another Imperial Abyss, that time from Uncle Rostam. 153239. Not fantastic use of nukes. That Tenso one was pretty good, but the other two didn't do too great. Plague Champion with the Plague Fist now. Ready to fight a Carnifex. No upgrades on this thing, but it's a big old monstrous creature, isn't it? Got claws the size of a tank. Plague Champion actually used Pestilent Strike there, which they shouldn't have done. Well, I guess it didn't matter too much, but it meant that the Chaos Space Marines were doing less damage to the Carnifex there. Maybe was the Ravener Alpha shooting at the Plague Champion? Maybe. Level 4 and level 4 Mark of Zinc CSM pumping out outrageous amounts of Inferno damage, which isn't great against the Carnifex's vehicle armor, but against the Hive Tyrant, look at this. Venom Cannon. Taking a whole bunch of damage there, and that was only one squad shooting at me, I think. East side. Killed a week from the Chaos Lord. Level 7 this guy now. That was the Sweeping Doom. Oh, we have a Lictor from Hiveminion out in tier 3. Jumping on the CSM. Didn't quite jump far enough to hit them all, I don't think. They're very focused on this east side here. I guess they can bash the power and then get to the VP quite quickly. Here comes the cavalry though. The Cornate Cavalry. Ravener Brood sneaking in behind. They don't have much to fight the Bloodletters and the CSM, do they? Aside from the Hive Tyrant himself. Lictor doesn't really want to fight them either. Especially when they're all leveled up and stuff. These are level 4 Mark of Corn CSM, up to 2200 hit points pretty much. The Bloodletters are level 2. Yeah, needs to be very careful, this Hive Tyrant. Look at the speed at which the health flew down there. Needed to retreat with almost full hit points, basically. We have a Thornback Carnifex for young wenDi. The Tyranids are not giving up here. They were so far behind. They continue to try to put pressure on. The Chaos Space Marines are just pushing the east side now. They haven't sent anything to the VP, which I think is a mistake. Mark of Corner CSM may be overextended a little bit, but they're not going to pay for it. I guess if they get away safely, they didn't overextend, right? Plague Champion having fun now with the Icon of Noble, as well as that Plague Fist. Takes out the Ravener Alpha, now going after the Hive Tyrant. Smacked him a bunch of times. These double Mark of Noble Predators, yeah they are. These things were nerfed somewhat in 295. I have less health regen. And I think in 294, didn't they get less damage over time when they're bolters, I think. Or maybe that's 295 too. Anyway, there it is. A concede from the Tyranids. Daddy Waroot again went down to 0 units. Had a rough game. We all have them. We all have them. Had a level 3 Hive Tyrant here. Level 6 Hive Tyrant. The Plague Champions were level 8 and level 3. They both did really well. Uncle Rostam's Chaos Lord, level 7, killed a bunch of stuff for Khorne. And there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching. Big thanks to these players for taking part, and Impregnable for hosting these events. This is the last faction war from the August 8th event. So hopefully there'll be some more this year. I'm not sure what the plans are. And I'll see you then.